Loneliness is a universal feeling that everyone experiences from time to time. Whether due to a lack of company during lunch, a change of city, or the unavailability of others, these moments of isolation are common. However, in recent decades, this occasional experience has transformed into a chronic feeling for numerous individuals. In the UK, 60% of young people aged 18 to 34 admitted to feeling lonely often. In the United States, this sensation affects 46% of the population. Interestingly, even in the most interconnected era in history, a surprising number of people feel isolated. Loneliness is not synonymous with being alone. Although we can feel happy even in solitude, constant interaction with friends does not guarantee protection against this feeling. Loneliness, a subjective and individual state, transcends common labels and stereotypes. The misconception that loneliness only affects those with social difficulties is challenged by population studies. Social skills have little impact on adults' social connections. Loneliness doesn't discriminate based on wealth, fame, beauty, social skills, or personality. It is intrinsic to our biology. This feeling, akin to hunger, is a bodily function that draws attention to our social needs. For millions of years, our bodies valued social connections as they influenced our likelihood of survival. Our biology evolved to value emotional understanding and forming social bonds. Since ancestral times, when living in groups of 50 to 150 individuals was crucial for survival, loneliness wasn't just isolation. It was a threat to life, as being together meant surviving, while being alone meant dying. Hence, our bodies developed a sort of alert system, social pain, that warned us about behaviors that could lead to isolation. Rejection, experienced as pain, served an evolutionary purpose. Those who adapted to rejection were more likely to stay within the tribe, while those who didn't adapt were excluded and likely didn't survive. These social mechanisms worked well throughout human history until the world changed, and we entered a new era. The beginning of the loneliness epidemic we experience today dates back to the end of the Renaissance period. Western culture began to emphasize the individual, moving away from the collectivism characteristic of the Middle Ages. Young Protestant theology emphasized individual responsibility. This shift in focus gained momentum during the Industrial Revolution, as people left their rural communities to work in factories, leaving behind centuries-old social ties. As cities rapidly grew, old communities began to dissolve. Despite living in an increasingly modernized and connected world, paradoxically, we are more distant from each other. The pursuit of new jobs, love opportunities, and education leads us to leave our social ties behind. Compared to the past, we personally know fewer people, and close friends decreased from 3 to 2 on average in the United States between 1985 and 2011. Most of us enter chronic loneliness inadvertently. As we age, the demands of work, college, relationships, children, and digital entertainment cause us to sacrifice time with friends. One day, we wake up to the reality that we feel isolated and yearn for meaningful connections. However, as adults, forming close bonds becomes a challenging task. Despite all technological progress, our bodies and minds still reflect our essence from 50,000 years ago. We are biologically wired for companionship. Comprehensive studies show that the stress of chronic loneliness ranks among the unhealthiest experiences. It accelerates disease progression, makes cancer more lethal, advances Alzheimer's, and weakens our immune system. Surprisingly, loneliness is twice as deadly as obesity and as lethal as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. Even more concerning is the fact that when loneliness becomes chronic, it can self-perpetuate. Physical pain and social pain use the same brain circuits. Both forms of pain activate an alert mechanism that distorts our perception of the world. While physical pain leads us to avoid dangerous situations, social pain makes us assume the worst intentions in others. Loneliness creates a vicious cycle, where our negative perception of social interactions further distances us from human connections. Despite all the adversities that chronic loneliness brings, it's important to recognize that we are social beings by nature. Loneliness isn't a sentence of perpetual isolation. It's an internal cry for reconnection. We can reclaim the essence of our humanity and build a world where loneliness is replaced by genuine, strong, and meaningful bonds. Imagine a world where instead of looking at our smartphones for connection, We look into each other's eyes with genuine empathy. A world where we challenge ourselves to step out of our comfort zones, reach out to new friendships, rekindle old connections, and reignite the flames of friendships that have grown cold. Our ancestors evolved to depend on each other for survival. Now, in a world of automation and technology, the true revolution lies in reclaiming the intrinsic value of human relationships. When we acknowledge that loneliness is a universal experience, we open the doors to understanding and empathy. After all, we are all part of this human journey, facing highs and lows, longings and joys. Understanding that loneliness doesn't discriminate, that it can affect anyone, regardless of status, fame, or success, makes us more compassionate. Each of us has the ability to be an anchor for someone lost in the vastness of loneliness. Small acts of kindness, a friendly smile, a listening ear, these gestures have the power to break the barrier of loneliness. The first step to combating loneliness is self-acceptance. There's no shame in admitting you feel lonely. It's a human feeling common to all of us. Similarly, seeking help when loneliness feels overwhelming is important. Psychologists, therapists, and support groups are there to guide us on our path of reconnection. We're in a moment of revolution, an empathy revolution, an understanding revolution, and a human connection revolution. Listening, sharing, caring, and being present for others will remind us of our inherent need to belong and create community. Together we can overcome chronic loneliness and replace it with a renewed sense of unity. Let's embrace the opportunity to restore the importance of human relationships in our lives. Cultivating genuine connections is an investment in our own well-being and the well-being of those around us. When we strive to build bridges instead of walls, we begin to weave the web of hope and belonging. So I invite you to reach out to someone today, whether a longtime friend or a new acquaintance. Every genuine interaction is a step toward a more connected, united, and ultimately more human world. Together we can rewrite the script of our story, replacing loneliness with the joy of sharing and belonging. The journey of life can be challenging, but we are never alone in it. Remember that the power of human connection is stronger than any loneliness that may arise. In our hands, we have the ability to bring light to hearts that feel lost, and in doing so, illuminate the path to a future where everyone can find their place. In this video, we explore the journey from loneliness to connection through real and inspiring stories. We invite you to join us on this quest for belonging and meaning, as all of us face loneliness at some point. We believe in the power of sharing our stories. If you've experienced the pain of loneliness or found ways to overcome it, please share your experiences in the comments. The Blackbird's Tales channel is here to listen, share, and spread inspiration. By subscribing to our channel and leaving your like, you help us continue creating content that touches hearts and sparks deep reflections. Every effort we make is dedicated to you, our community. Together, we can build a space of empathy, connection, and growth. Don't miss out on being part of this transformative movement. Join us on the Blackbird's Tales channel, and together let's create a world where stories of overcoming become beacons of hope for everyone. Your support is what drives us to make a difference.